Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Patty Stash. Today I'm going to be doing some video analysis on the weekly Everybody Holds chart. This is a big one. And the reason I say this is a big one is because this is a weekly chart. It's not a 15-minute chart. It's not a 1-hour chart. Not an intraday chart. It's a massive, massive chart. One of the things that I want to point out from the beginning, as you could see, since this project came out 2 years ago, it has continuously made higher highs. It's continuously made higher lows since the inception of the project. Today is a very special day. I'm making this video because of the simple fact that the chart has finally pulled all the way back to the lower trend line support, which you can see it has bounced off of every other time in the past. So, for 2 straight years, history has repeated. Is history going to repeat itself again? Well, that's up to you to make the decision. I believe it will. So now, let's just look at some things here. The most important thing I want to show is this red bar right here. This is basically the area where people were selling after buying the lower support previously. Boom, goes up, profits taken. Comes down, profits taken. Comes down, got a little bit above it, but again, you can see that same area was the distribution line. However, what I want to point out now is the entire game has changed. The price broke over that line substantially and is now pulling back to that line. So in the past, it was used as resistance or seen as resistance. Now, it'll be seen as support. So what I believe is going to happen, price is going to pivot off here. It's going to break this previous high, and we're going to move up to a good penny or so. I would say we could easily move considerably higher here. That is, if market conditions improve and Ethereum does do what I'm expecting it to do. Another important thing that I want to point out is the volume. You can see at the inception here, when the price was a lot lower, the volume was higher, and then we went through this period of about a year of when the price broke out, hit this line, volume spiked. But this right here, this is the big dog right here. When the volume, let me actually point something out here. If you get rid of this big candle right here, you can see that the line pretty much is like this. It would be a declining line until right here, these candles would have broken that line. And what I'm pointing out is the exact same thing is happening. So what I'm anticipating is we're going to see a big green candle here. Price is going to pivot off. It's going to break this trend line support. And what's going to happen is, just like last time, we're going to see exponential growth with the volume candles. Last time they were way down here. This time they're here. This time I believe they'll be much, much higher than what we saw here. Obviously, if the market improves and Ethereum goes above 5,000, it'll add so much to it. But basically what I wanted to point out in this is it's the weekly chart. You could see that previously this area was resistance and now it's support. So we did a breakout, and this is essentially the macro retest. So what I'm expecting to see happening could be, I don't know, it could be a couple weeks still, because in the past you could see it kind of teeter-totter on this line before it pivoted off. So we might have a couple weeks yet. But the point that I'm trying to point out is the smart money loads the trend line support. Smart money loads, and then, some of them take profits, some of them are holding. Ultimately, we know that the number of holders have continued to move higher. So what I believe is going to happen is we're going to see a shitload of accumulation in this area. Smart money, the money that doesn't need to ask other people what to do. They'll be accumulating here. Price is then going to break this 0017 resistance. And in my opinion, we're going to shoot up over a penny. Because if we're going to continue this trend, it's going to keep moving like that. And again, the most important thing is to point out is that this was previously resistance and now it's acting as support. So here we are. The price is 2675. The volume is declining. This right here, in my opinion, this is my bottom call. This is the pivot point. I think that yesterday it was possible we saw bottom. You never know. Actually, Ethereum's pumping right now, so depends on what the market does to some extent. But this token right here, it doesn't necessarily follow what the market does because it doesn't trade like other tokens. How many charts have you seen of other meme coins where, you know, the price goes up and then it just goes right down? This is a different story. It's been continuously trending higher since its inception. It's been continuously making higher highs and higher lows on a macro level. And yes, I do believe that it will happen again. The most important thing to remember about this project is it cannot be diluted. There are no allocations of tokens that could be introduced into the supply of this. It's the number one destroyer of worlds. It's the number one reason most tokens go bankrupt. It's the number one reason tokens rug. Basically what happens is the team has a massive supply, and what they're doing is no matter where the price is, they're selling. So for a token like this, it would basically just keep coming down, and even though it's down here, they could just keep selling because they have endless supplies of tokens. So what happens is, over an extended period of time, the company starts to realize, holy shit, the price is down 99%. Nobody cares about it anymore. And then that's when they put out the tweet saying, sorry guys, we're going to have to get rid of the token. We're going to, cancel it. We're going to boot. We're out. That's not a good thing. That will never happen with this. So the more people that understand that this token cannot be rugged like other projects, the more that people will continue to accumulate and hold this, because as you see over time, it just keeps going higher. And yes, I do expect a much higher high. I expect it to break a penny. I easily think this token will break 10 cents in the future, but it's going to take time for it to just keep working its way up. Again, it reminds me of Bitcoin on Ethereum. Distribution is great. No wallet contains a large enough amount of tokens to dump at one time to rug it. The largest wallet right now holds a fraction of 1%. At one point, there was a wallet that held 1.5% of the supply. Actually, I think it was maybe around here, or maybe it was back here. I don't remember exactly when it was, but that wallet, you know what? It might have been right here, actually, because we were on a Twitter Spaces, and I remember the price was pumping, and then all of a sudden a massive dump came in. So that could be this candle right here. Somebody dumped 1.5% of the supply and didn't rug the project. So that day was the largest statistical risk that this token has. Now all the other wallets are much smaller. So on a macro level, it's go time again for everybody holds. And I think that this level right here is going to be where smart money accumulates, and then it's going to break out, and then the emotions are going to start running high. What I'm really looking forward to seeing is the volume candle spike above this line right here. That's usually the biggest indicator I look for. Obviously, I don't have an MACD or any other indicators that I included here because it's just kind of a basic chart. So, ooh, look at that. Ethereum's pumping. So I don't know what the price, actually, let's check. So here we are, 2693. I think that this baby is absolutely ready to rock. That's not a good view. So you can see already we're making up the gains, or the gains from yesterday's implosion of the market. So that's my analysis. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully people make their own decision. Hopefully people realize this is not financial advice. I'm just giving my own breakdown of this chart and what I believe will happen. Smart money, in my opinion, accumulates right here, right now. As the price starts to pump, other people take notice. They start jumping on. They start telling their friends. And before you know it, when it breaks this level right here, everybody's going to care. And the best part is, these big green candles right here that were once much smaller, that have gotten bigger, are going to be way bigger. So when we were trading $1 million volume days here, I believe we could easily do $5 or $10 million volume days here. Again, if Ethereum does pump and the market does move higher, the scale of this can be 100 times bigger than what it is now. Because remember, it's organically traded. There are no surprises with this token there's no possible risk when it comes to a surprise wallet dumping or some sort of, event that could lead to the destruction of this token. That cannot happen. That's why I love this project. That's why I'm still holding this project. Other projects carry much higher risk. The only risk here, as we've actually pointed out before, is a wallet gets hacked and then they get sold. That's the worst thing that could happen to this project. If you're patient and if you understand the supply and demand situation, I hope people saw that Telcoin post that I made before. I don't know how it got deleted. It says I deleted it. I know I didn't delete it. But anyway, I'm bringing up the archives so I can pull it back. But that I made a post that took me 2 hours to make about Telcoin, about how dilution ends up to the destruction of projects. And by no means am I saying Telcoin destroyed. Anyway, the whole point of that post was to say the supply is nearly maxed now, and I believe that the supply will surpass the price will surpass previous all-time highs, and it'll keep going from there. So, but that's only when the supply stops coming into the market. Because when you have supply being introduced, it's like you're swimming uphill. Imagine for every one token bought, there's 2 being dumped into the market. That means the price will continue to go down. If there are 3 tokens being bought for every 2 being diluted, it means the price will go up. With this, there's no dilution. So as long as retail holds what they have, the price will explode. Let's go.